Welcome to my life on paper. I'm Brianna. Welcome to Thankful Thursday, which is a hop started by Sandie Reverskie of State Goddess here on YouTube. Here is a sketch from Scrap a Sketch. It is called Recipe Number 3, and it gives you different prompts. And the prompts that I am using is washi, flare, 4 pattern papers, a stamp, and enamel dots. And Scrap a Sketch is by Lisa Sikorsky, and her Facebook group is listed below. So you can see there are the hexagons on this sketch, and that's exactly what I went for. I have these very old, I don't like to say old, vintage always makes it sound better, papers. I know I've used them here on this channel before. I know I've had a couple people say, hey, I've got those papers. I am slowly using them. You can see on this layout, just with using the hexagons, I'm not going to use a lot of them, but little by little. And I am, Sandie asked us to scrapbook what we are thankful for each Thursday of this month of November. And so far I've been thankful for, let me think, friends, family, my Jeep. There was probably one more, maybe my husband. I'm thankful for coffee today. This is when we were in Florida, and the girls, we were at a coffee shop, and the girls saw this and immediately knew they needed to try it. It is a coffee flight. This picture I got developed by Walgreens. The picture is much better. The original is much better because this looks like we cut off the top of the coffees, and I will have this reprinted and cropped better so that you can see the whole coffee, because that is what the layout is about. So I have 2 different size hexagons. I used my bigger hexagon. I used 3 different pattern papers right here, and I just set them up like the sketch, except in the sketch they're all touching, and I left a little bit of white space. When I finally, I'll glue them down, you'll see that I leave a little bit of white space. I trim one of those half hexagons that are going to go on the bottom. I trim it in half. I should do that shortly, because I figure I'm going to use part of it on the right side. Here you're going to see it because it's hanging off on the right side there. Oop, it just disappeared, and it's oops, sorry. And then I trim it off. I end up making this easier for myself. I scoot them all over in that half from the left side instead of going back to the right side, if that makes sense. I would have saved myself a little trouble if I would have thought of that right away, but by scooting it over to the left, you don't have to worry about pieces, parts, and you can keep them all together. So here is where I pull out more pieces, more scraps, and so I'm going to find some other patterns to go not only behind the photo, but then also those strips below the photo, like in the sketch. That one wasn't big enough. I like to, seems like I'm even willing things with my mind sometimes. Come on, we're gonna make it. Isn't this big enough? So and you'll see that one pattern paper in the bottom, the hexagons, does have a little bit of blue. There is no blue any other. Oh, nope. Take that back. Until, there's no other blue until I bring this one in. And they are a little bit different blues, but that's okay. It makes for a little bit of interest there. And I like how the pattern paper on the bottom kind of brings the brown and the blue together. So I'm going to line that up, and then I think, it needs one more piece of it? No, that's it, I think. And I've gotten, what, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 6? I don't know. I have enough pattern papers to make it for the recipe. And here's where I'm going to trim it with my scissors. The bigger piece below, I just made a notch with my scissors so that I knew how long to make it. And then I trimmed it a little bit so that it's a little bit thinner piece. Then I'm going to glue this down. Oh, I'll back the photo. And there's my flare. I only have one, but it only said in the recipe flare. It didn't say more than one, so I'm good there. And I'm not going to completely glue that down, but I'm going to glue the photo to the strips as well as to the mat. And then I will get those glued to each other. The girls really enjoyed their coffee. It's my husband and I just usually drink ours black. If I might have a little cream in mine, but it was just fun to get the different flavors. Here I take out my Close to My Heart inks. I know I want to stamp some, and I have a big, it's a coffee ring stamp, and it's rather quite old from Close to My Heart, so I'm going to use that for a big circle. And then I've got these other stamps. I don't know where those stamps are from. Let me see. It is called Silicone Clear Stamps. It is called Globeland, where they're from, and it looks like it was from Amazon. And there's just a whole bunch of different, they're all circle, they're all like splatters and stuff, but they're just, everyone is different. So I'll combine some of those together. I tried the blue color. I think you're going to see me try both of them. I was a little afraid that brown wasn't going to match because it's kind of a dark, flat brown, but it does match. This color, you know, I was looking for a light blue. This has got a little bit of purple in it, and I have to tell you, I think it was close, but just wasn't what I was going for, especially in coffee is brown, so why would you not do a coffee spot in brown, right? I recently dropped coffee on one of my layouts that I was almost completed with. Luckily, I was at a point where I could switch out some things and it didn't get the photo, so I was pretty glad about that, but I don't want to do that again. So there's my brown coffee ring, the big one. And then I will get out a smaller one and then stamp that next to it. Almost like a embellishment cluster. And then there is one more that's just like a splatter. And you're going to see me, the big one is not new. The other ones are new. So, yep, I'm just going to rub that off on my hand a little bit, get some of my oils onto there and get that, I don't know if there's like a protective coating on there, but then I stamp it off once. Yep, that looks good to me. So then I'll stamp again. And there it is. And that's just it's almost like an embellishment cluster, honestly. I will put some enamel dots there because that was part of the recipe. So far I have 4 pattern paper and the stamp. I don't always, or I usually don't clean my stamps off, but I will, it's called stamping them off, where I'll take a piece of scratch paper and just stamp all the rest of the ink off, and that it might stain the stamp a little bit, but that does not bother me. I can tell that it's well loved. So these are just some enamel dots that are in my stash. I take the light blue ones that do match that paper down the bottom, and I will get 3 different sizes there in my little embellishment cluster. So now I have enamel dots on my embellishment cluster. And then I think I have to get the flare on and the washi, and I will be set. So I'm going to glue this photo down. And first I think I'm going to put it up higher, but if you look at the sketch, which again, you don't have to follow exactly, it is overlapping the hexagons. So that's why I bring it down a little bit. So that makes me happy there. And then I will also have to, I think this is, yep, here's the washi. Super skinny washi. I had not used it from my stash at all before. And it's just going to overlap the photo a little bit. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, you're going to replace that photo. How is that going to work? But I definitely have more washi, so that won't be a problem if I have to replace the washi on the photo as well. Here's my flare. I do put some foam adhesive tape underneath it. But then I was like, does it need something more? And I go into my brown embellishment, not a folder, but kind of container. It's not really a box either. And I find a title. It says Just Perfect. And this one says, oh, hello there. I'm just looking at my options. That's the wrong color, I think. Memory Made, that would have been a good one. And these are, that's a Nicole Jones 911 printable. So what better page to use a coffee cup on but a coffee page? And so I'm going to get those things down. And I end up finding one more coffee cup that looks just a little bit different. So I want to get those. Oh, hey, that was a printable that I had found in my stash, that I had from my stash. It matches. I don't even know what it is because it's an odd shaped tab, but I'm going to put it up there. Here's my other coffee cup. So I liked the layered look of that. That's going to go right there. So I have 2 coffee cups, my flare, I've got a title there. I didn't use that little tiny one. Decided not to. And that title, I think, moves around a little bit. There you go. Oh, it was a word, what do you call that? A word bubble thing, speech bubble. And that's not my favorite. And what is the coffee talking? So I covered up the speech bubble part with the coffee cups. And that works pretty slick. Adhere that down. And is that it? Might be close to it. Look at that. I'm gonna get the tab stuck down. There is a playlist for Thankful Thursday, so check that out below. Check to see everybody else who's playing along. I've been enjoying watching all the videos. Check to see if there's anybody new that you can follow. That's always fun. And as always, I hope you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon.